I'm honored to have as my special guest today, Donna Glass. Donna, it's so good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Barbara, for inviting me. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yeah, I had such a wonderful conversation with you some time ago, and I was just delightful to meet you and just have a wonderful conversation today.
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay. Just a little bit about Donna. Donna is a Michigan attorney, and she has sort of changed her focus of her business to small businesses, and that really came about during the economic downfall, basically, when you decide to make that switch in your business.
Yes, I was started out practicing in employment law and litigation quite a while ago, and then after taking a break in practicing for family reasons, I started my own practice and was focusing on real estate, but wasn't really enjoying that. It's very transactional in nature. It wasn't very involved. Didn't get a chance to establish relationships and make a difference like I might like. But in about 2008, when the economy took a downturn, it was obvious that there were going to be a lot of people starting their own businesses out of need because the jobs were disappearing. So I looked at that and I wanted to participate in, I guess, the resurgence of the area and the community and be involved in the process of supporting small businesses. So I changed my practice focus to the area of small business. So I work with small and family-owned businesses and nonprofit corporations.
You know, such a special thing about Donna, when we were talking, I just felt your passion for helping people and wanting to really, really make a difference. And that resonated with me because it's not only liking what you do, but what you do making a difference in someone else's life is just invaluable. And so by you changing your practice, you were able to carry out that passion.
Yes, first of all, working with people toward a goal. I get to work with, I focus on working with startups, businesses that have been operating for 1 to 5 years, and businesses that are ready for change. I find that for me, my practice area is, as I've developed it over time, I've narrowed my focus to focus on generating sustainable small businesses. What I found after talking to and working with many businesses, is that they start up their business, they're focused on what they do, but they generally, too often, haven't taken the time to be structured properly. They went on to the state of Michigan's website and got themselves a business identification number or established a DBA, got a certificate to do business, got a bank account, and got started focusing on their business. But they didn't complete the process of establishing their business. And if they're tested, they will find out that they don't have the liability protection that the statutes have designed to provide for small business owners. So for me, as I kept seeing that over and over and over, I thought, well, this is important because the business journey, establishing a business and operating a business is a journey. But there are twists and turns, speed bumps, and the occasional accident on the road to this journey. And if you're tested, like with a lawsuit or something that brings liability exposure to your business, and that's when you'll find out if you're not registered, if you're not established and structured as a business operating under the statutes.
And something just came to mind in terms of the terminology, small business. Does that terminology bring about a connotation that keeps it mentally small, or how would you help our audience to understand small business versus big business versus business, successful business, sustainable business?
Well, the first part of your question, when you talk about small business, it depends on who's making the distinction.
Okay.
The Small Business Administration has different categories of what's
Okay.
considered small based on what industry you're in. And small can be as small as $7.5 million to $38 million, depending
Okay.
on what industry you're in, and that's just one category
And see,
that I
wasn't-
remember that stuck in my head. So when I'm talking about the small businesses I represent, I would actually refer to them, but I don't, as micro businesses because they're much smaller. I don't remember the statistics, but as it stands now, more people are employed working for small businesses than they are working for large corporations.
That's true.
But I was watching a couple of the interviews you have online when I was invited to join you, and I believe it was Arthur Cartwright I saw, and he gave a statistic
Sure did.
that 87% of small businesses make less than $50,000 a year. That just stuck with me. I was like, wow, that is not good. And his mission, of course, is generating businesses that are in the $1 million range and
Yes.
getting business owners to think bigger.
Bigger.
Well, it's great to think bigger, but if your big business is sitting on a shallow or incompletely constructed foundation,
Okay.
it's not sustainable.
So that word is the key.
And it is, but sustainable has been used as such a buzzword now. It's everywhere, sustainable businesses. I really mean resilient. A business that can withstand a challenge or two, a legal challenge, a claim against it that isn't covered by insurance, as an example. So that's what I mean when I say a sustainable business. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's say a business owner has heard they need to be set up as a corporation. Okay, go online to the state of Michigan, licensing and regulatory affairs. They do what's necessary to file articles of incorporation to be a business. They get a business ID number, they get a federal taxpayer number, employer identification number, and they set up a business and get a bank account and set up a business. There are statutes that govern how a corporation must be operated. If you aren't operating according to the statute, you're not a legal corporation. People will do business with you, but if you are sued or you're found to be liable under some contract for some amount of money that isn't covered by insurance that your business can't pay, your personal assets are at risk, and that's not what's supposed to happen if your business is properly structured. You need to know what the rules are for the game you're playing. So one of the benefits of reaching out to and consulting with an attorney like myself is you get the benefit of understanding what the rules are. For example, if you have your small business, you've set yourself up as a corporation, and you don't have a board of directors, and you haven't established bylaws, you don't have the requirements for operating a corporation, by coming to me, I can file a few documents that take you out of the regular requirements of a corporation and make legal the size of the corporation you have with the structure you have without you changing anything.
Okay.
But at that point then, your personal assets are no longer at risk. Now, one of the reasons that
That's
corporations
important.
were established is to insulate the individual business owners and investors from the risks of doing business. But if you go out there and you jump in the water and you haven't taken the time to understand the rules, I'm mixing my metaphors, forgive me.
You're doing great.
You can
It's the
go,
information.
you can be vulnerable in ways you weren't aware of. So what I focus on and what's important to me is seeing that business owners who are really interested, are passionate about a business that has the ability to grow and accumulate wealth, and that they have a vision for something they're looking to accomplish down the road. They want to leave a legacy with this business. That those business owners who are serious about being business owners understand and have their business foundation properly structured, and that they're operating in accordance with the statutes. For example, if you were to look at, let's say, women-owned businesses, I know you care a lot about women and empowerment and courage for women, and I do in terms of women business owners. I get a lot of enjoyment out of working with a woman business owner who really has a goal for her business. I'm starting this business because I don't have any other options available to me. I'm going to work this business to keep my family afloat, okay? That business owner is not necessarily going to be open to the message that I have about putting all their ducks in a row to be able to. They're just trying to
survive.
keep their survive and keep money coming in. But if you have a business owner with a vision, they either, well, the business owners that have a vision or are looking to develop a vision, they will take a listen to what's required to be sustainable. So your business, the way it begins makes a difference. It makes a difference in terms of how well that business can protect your personal assets from liabilities, from the business liabilities, and it makes a difference in terms of how much money that your business generates that you get to keep. So as you're starting a business, if you're serious about building a business, you need the advice of an attorney and an accountant, because I can give you the advice on what type of business I think is best for your venture and the business owners that are involved. At that point, you all need to go and consult with an accountant to see how that business structure is going to affect your bottom line, your individual bottom line, and make a decision balancing the advice you get from your attorney and the advice you get from your accountant.
So that you can walk into it knowing exactly what to expect.
Yes, and in beginning with the end in mind. So that's the beginning part. You know, get the advice and counsel of professionals at the beginning, and then there's more to it. Finish building out that business so that if there are multiple owners in a business, you put in place the documents that provide for the what ifs, okay? What if one of the business owners becomes disabled? What if one of the owners wants to leave the business? What if there's a divorce and the assets, the interest that that business owner has is about to pass over into the hands of another individual? You know, you want to have as much predictability in your business as you can manage by taking care of the things that are foreseeable. These are foreseeable events. You know, change happens.
It happens.
Always. So that's kind of where my focus is, and it took me a while to realize that is predominantly what I care about. I care about helping business owners set up and operate a sustainable business, and working with nonprofit organizations as well.
And just knowing that you had a role in making that person successful because they listened and they took advice.
Listening, yes.
Listening.
Listening
And,
is...
you know, and then what are some of the pitfalls? Say, if I was getting ready to start a business and I think I know what I'm doing, and I come to see you, and I just really want to rush ahead, and I put that on the back burner. And I think I know what's best. I'm talking about, I'm using myself as an example.
It's any business owner.
But what are some pitfalls that I can avoid when I get ready to start my $1 million business?
You will call me, right?
Yes,
well, I think of I have a flyer I pass out when I speak to business classes called the proactive versus the reactive business model. So let's say, for example, you are a startup and you're going to be a retail concern. There's going to be, and you're going to lease the place that you're going to operate your business from. So you're going to have to sign a lease, and you're going to need to acquire insurance for that business space that you're leasing. That lease will require you to get insurance. In an ideal situation, you will contact an attorney to review the lease before you sign it.
Okay.
And you will contact that attorney to review the insurance policy. Now, you won't have a policy at that point, but the goal here is to match the requirements in the lease. These are the things you're required to take care of as the tenant versus the things that you can get coverage for in the insurance policy. Both of those documents should be reviewed before you sign the lease, ideally, in order to make sure that what you're saying to the landlord, I will cover these things, you know whether you can get coverage for them or not.
Right.
Now, you may not be able to, let's say you have a 50-foot specialty plate glass window in front of this business, okay? And the landlord has said you're responsible for maintenance, repair, and replacement of this window. But your insurance policy doesn't cover it. And maybe it even looked like it did when you read the face sheet or whatever, but there are some exclusions back there somewhere that negate that coverage. If you know that your business, that your insurance doesn't cover that window, you can be proactive about protecting that window. If someone's operating with heavy equipment outside that window, you might be out there being a second pair of eyes. You might board up that window until the construction on the road is finished.
Wow.
You'll take action. But if you don't know, because you signed the lease yourself, you got the insurance, you think you're doing the right thing, but you didn't get any consultation, you can't be proactive in handling the areas where you have more liability.
And if you're just getting started and you're doing pretty good and something like that happens,
that window could put you out of business. And in addition to that, when you sign a lease, you're generally going to be asked to sign in your individual capacity as well as your business capacity, because that landlord knows if that business goes out of business, they can't look to that business to pay them. So you have to sign in your individual capacity. So not only did that plate glass window potentially put you out of business, but now you have a personal liability to pay for that plate glass window that's going to follow you home to your other assets.
Or if someone gets injured because of that glass window, they could potentially sue you?
At any time, you could potentially be sued.
That's true.
And the thing I want to stress is none of this is absolute. I mean, there are no guarantees that the planning, that any of the things you do are going to be 100% ironclad.
Good point.
But you will rest better if you know where you stand. You can take proactive measures to protect yourself or be prepared for the what-ifs that aren't covered. And just be better positioned if you get advice and counsel up front.
Oh, Donna, this is invaluable information, because sometimes we have a good idea. We may even have a good business. But if we don't put some of those safeguards in place, it can be wiped out overnight.
It's true, and it happens more often than you think. Just like it happens that a business owner thinks that they have, taken the right steps to establish their business, and then they find out that, they're not legally operating, and they don't have any protections from the statutes. That's just one thing that I think about, that I raise a lot, because I've talked to so many business owners, and you ask them, so what kind of entity are you operating with? You have how are you set up? They don't know. I've talked to business owners who have been in business for 15 or 20 years.
Wow.
And found out they have a large business sitting on top of a sole proprietorship, and they've just been fortunate not to have ever been sued or not to have ever had a liability that wasn't covered by insurance.
Wow.
So it's not the best way to operate your business.
And you can sleep better when you know everything is done correctly, all your ducks in a row. I mean, you can just rest better, especially if you have the knowledge and don't do it, or have some inkling of what could possibly happen.
That inkling you're talking about is it causes insecurity, and it causes business owners to play small. So, for example, you haven't consulted with an attorney, but you know that there's some reason that you should, and you know you didn't. So an opportunity comes up. You're a woman-owned business, and you understand that you might be able to qualify for government contracts if you can get a women business enterprise certification. But as soon as you go onto the website and you look at the requirements for applying for that certification, you realize you don't have those documents in place. You don't have your ducks in a row. You're not going to be granted that opportunity. Okay, that's one situation. But even on a smaller scale, let's say based on where your business is located, there is, and because it's happening in the city of Detroit right now, there's money in certain geographic areas or for certain types of businesses and certain business industries available to help you build your business. But you have to apply for those dollars. And they want to see that you're operating your business like a true business, and you have a plan for how the business is going to be operated, and you're paying your taxes, and you're doing the things, because they want to know that if they give you this money, it's going to benefit a business that has the ability to continue to be viable. It's going to be well taken care of. That it's a good bet for their time and investment or whatever.
Absolutely.
Many business owners won't even go after those dollars because they're insecure about how they're set up. Or they want to go after those dollars and find out they're rejected because they don't have the proper documents in place. So it's just, it's bigger than just, gee, I set up my business and I maybe I'm not sure if I finished. I think it carries on. I see it carry out in the level of confidence that a business owner will use in going forward for investment dollars or partnerships. We know that if you're a small business, sometimes the way to get to be a bigger business is to partner with another entity for a project or an opportunity, and bring the resources of two parties together for time. If you don't think you can withstand the scrutiny of the other parties in going forward, it affects your willingness to play bigger games.
Now let's talk a little bit more about the other passion that you have, and it's also a passion of mine because I'm a nurse, and that's healthcare. And we can have healthy businesses, but if we don't have healthy bodies and healthy minds, we still won't be as profitable as we should be.
Oh, sure.
So part of what you do also, you have a passion for managing out your health. Tell us about that. Health and wellness.
Health and wellness. Well, I enjoy working with businesses that are focused on non-medical health and wellness, that provide education, services, knowledge on how to use non-medical means, non-prescription, non-surgical methods to either regain your health or, more importantly, to maintain your health. Because if we don't have health, we can't really pursue wealth very effectively.
If you don't feel good, you don't feel like doing your business.
No, you don't. And but for me, because I have such a an interest, let's say, in natural health and wellness. I feel as though when I get to support a business that is taking that to the community, to the public, that I'm making a huge difference when I can help a business like that be more sustainable, to be able to spread that message farther and wider. And you helped me to see where that came from. You asked me a question before we were and started the interview about where I thought that interest in natural health and wellness came from, and made me realize something I had not realized, and that was because I watched my father succumb to the benefit, the detriment of diabetes, and he didn't ever seem to take active management of it. He was going to doctors, but I didn't see him take active management of it. And as I looked into diabetes, I realized, I had a susceptibility for it. And I was determined that that would not happen to me. So I just started my journey of reading and understanding, and I developed a real affinity for health and wellness professionals who are teaching others how to care for themselves, and
That's awesome.
using non-medical, using natural ingredients, food, water, rest,
we
meditation.
have so many young people today that are overweight, that are have the predisposition for diabetes. It's invaluable because it can save a life or have a good quality of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For
What
the years
good
that
is
God
it to
has
live
given
to
you.
90 years old if you're in a body that's broken down and you
Exactly.
can't enjoy your life?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
we all have our junk food of choice, and, we all fail to exercise at times and get overweight a little bit, but if we're moving toward more understanding and knowledge of how to be healthy, we're going to be healthier than if we aren't.
And just have the desire. You won't be perfect all the time, but just have the desire.
Yeah.
Is wonderful.
So I enjoy supporting those business owners.
Yeah, before our time is up, Donna, I want you to tell our audience how they can get in touch with you and enjoy your wonderful services and be able to help them in business and Foundation in Health and Wellness.
Okay. Well, one of the ways that I have, I guess one of the things I do that's different in conducting my business and working with my business owners is wanting to bring them in for an initial assessment. I've put together a business development assessment that I send them to fill out and share with me so I can see how their business is established, how they're operating, what kind of a team they're working with, what they already have in place. And so that business development assessment is part of my process to determine whether or not they're ready to work with me, but more importantly, if they come in for that business development planning session, when they leave, they will know where they stand, what happens to their business now under certain set, the way it's currently operating. Where are they vulnerable? What's working right? And we put together a plan for what they need to do to complete the way they're established and the way they're operating to improve that status. So that business development assessment has a value whether they work with me or not. So that's one of the things that I do. But also, and if we have time to discuss this, another thing that I have seen and heard a lot about when I've gone to, say, seminars on business development, small business small business administration topics and things like that, is business owners who they respond to a request for proposal. They want to do business with someone, and they have to submit a proposal in order to get that business, and that a lot of small businesses don't get the business because the proposals aren't detailed enough, or because they don't know how to approach drawing the picture for, as part of that proposal, of what they do, how they do it, and what difference what they do makes to be able to get that job, or because their proposals, quite frankly, aren't professionally done enough. So, as a result of one of the last proposals I put together, I've started to market and talk about the fact that I help business owners put together proposals
Okay.
so that they can get more business.
That's so important.
It's needed. I didn't, I would be working with a business owner, something would come up, I would help him do it, and it was just part of the services I was providing. Of course, they were paying for them, but I had never really thought to break that out as a special service that I offer and market it. And that's something that I'm doing now. And as an adjunct to that, there is a flip side to that. So someone puts out a request for you to give them a proposal. But what about the business owner who's already doing business with someone and they want more business? I had a situation where one of my clients was doing work for a major corporation, and they were working with a mid-level manager in providing the service. And the manager said to the business owner, well, wow, you did a really great job and you did it really fast. We're going to have a lot more of these opportunities coming up. Why don't you put something together and I can take it to upper level management and we can see about getting you some more business to be the provider of this service. And he came to me, he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to give them, So I asked him a series of questions in order to find out, well, what was it that manager saw? What was the difference that you made? How do you deliver your services? And put together a letter for him to submit. And basically this is asking for a proposal request. So it's like an inquiry for a proposal, a request for proposal. And I put together something I realized that that's an opportunity that many business owners have. It's like it's easier to do business with somebody who's already doing business with you, to get more business from them. So I put together something called, I think I've titled it 10 Essential Elements for Requesting More Business. Okay? And I am making that available. It's not on my website yet.
Okay.
When it's on my website, I'll actually have a fee attached. But right now, if someone wanted to get that 10 essential elements for requesting more business, you can go to my website. My website is glassplc.com, and that's like Paul, Larry, Charlie, glassplc.com.
Okay.
And make a request in the email. There's a comments box. Put in your email and your name and say that you'd like to have that 10 essential elements document, and I'll send it to you free of charge.
Oh, that's just awesome.
Just
That's awesome.
as a way to introduce myself to them and offer something. And I think it's a document that will make a difference. It lets them do it themselves. Yeah, because very often, if you're deeply involved in what you do, if you don't have a written procedure for it, it's hard for you to show it to someone else. So these questions are basically designed to help you break down what you do and put that in, be better at presenting your services to someone else and asking for
and present it in order succinctly. So that's great. Well, Donna, it has just been a pleasure. You have such a wealth of information, and I see that you are really sort of unique in what you do in terms of other attorneys that I know. I mean, they may not do exactly, but you seem to be doing something a little bit different.
Yes,
you did unique, which is very, very needed.
Well, thank you.
For people that like me that's aspiring. Well, it's just been a joy to have you on the show today. And if you want to just repeat your website again, in email, phone number, whatever, so that our audience would know exactly how to reach you. And
Glass Law Office in Southfield, Michigan. Website address is glassplc.com.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, audience, if you would like to have a special attorney, Donna Glass will be happy to help you get your business started, and she can also help you with health and wellness. Thank you so much, Donna, for being a part of the show today.
Thank you, Barbara.
And I just enjoyed it and learned so much just from talking with you.
Thanks.
Thank you. This
Thanks,
is Barbara with Heart Expressions with Barbara. We'll see you on next time.